Organization. That's what we're here talking about. Organization. I am not naturally a very organized person. One moment. The irony, as I'm talking about not being naturally good about it, I hear the crackle of the trash bag that I put behind me that contains all the trash that accumulated over the last week. Instead of just getting rid of it out of the room, I just put it behind the curtain so that it is not visible. So, yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I like some would call cluttered, but busy environment. I mean, it feels like it helps my creativity. It kind of masks some of the busyness that is my life. But it's also kind of what's going on in my head. But I like busy. It helps spark creativity for me. However, it will quickly go from busy and helpful to overly cluttered, messy, dirty, and then at that point, it does not help. It just stresses me out. So it's a struggle that I have to kind of live in that balance. It doesn't help that I have a little one who comes in here and then rummages through all of these drawers over here, which are a very clear example of how I'll have one organized and the other one is just a junk drawer. I'm quite good at cleaning up a mess in one area of my life, and it just kind of goes into the proverbial junk drawer of another area. The hope is that eventually I get to the last junk drawer and then I can clean it out and clean up my life a little bit. But it seems like I rarely get to the final junk drawer. It's like the final boss. Whatever. I mean, it's just part of my life that I've learned how to manage, like everything else. If you watched the last one, then you see how I figured out how to do it that way, and it works for me. I think that's everybody, you know. I have a few friends who you open up a drawer, everything has its proper place, and I like that. I do like it, and I do occasionally mimic it. The problem is I don't always go put it right back, and then over the next week or month or year or whatever the timeline is of how much I use that thing, it falls apart. And I just set it in a different place, and then I just have to know generally my things are in this area and not in this one space. So, you know, it doesn't help in the same way, but it's just that essentially my brain is on another thing by the time that I even think about putting something away. I'm already on step 2 and 3 after that. So if it even gets close, it's like a miracle. But whatever, again, it is what it is. The idea is to keep it general enough that just anybody could watch and hopefully gain something that they could apply it to their life. But obviously I'm more music, recording, home studio, and so that's what I'm going to go through. I come down here, I start recording, and I record most of everything. And then the question is, what do I do with this stuff? I didn't have a plan initially. It was just recording, and I have over time continued to refine that process. And I've gotten to a point now that I feel like the process that I've refined is worth sharing. So, Rough Ideas was the original. Some of these are actually songs. Some are directories or folders of songs. So, yeah, it's a lot. 159. So here's 159 things, but then some of them have another 10 or 15 or maybe more ideas inside of them. So it wasn't great. There was no way for me to be like, I know what I want to go find and find it. Whatever. Again, I also have to think, like, does naming matter? I mean, there's some really horrible ideas in here, like name-wise. This one just caught my eye. Let's look at it. Not my best work. It's probably because I had to pee. So anyway, I come in here and I record something. Now I've gotten to the point where I'm okay saying I don't particularly love anything in this, so is it worth keeping? No. But anyway, back to the point. It was this giant junk folder, or, junk drawer of an idea that didn't really work for me. So now what do I do? We'll bring up yesterday's. I get to a point where I recorded something, and what really makes it a piece that I'm going to save or not is if I did anything on top of it, right? So here you see I went back and I double tracked some stuff over this stuff, and here I did some double track. I cut some stuff, I pieced stuff together. I really like this from yesterday. So I want to explore that again sometime in the future. So this makes the cut. We're definitely saving this, right? I'm not throwing this away. I record something, maybe something comes out, I make the decision, yes, I want to keep this because I found something that I liked out of it, and then I went back and I either started building upon it or I chopped it up and said, oh, those pieces kind of go together, let me make those sound better. So now what? I've decided I want to save it. Now where do I save it? I only started this last year. It's still kind of being refined, but the place where I save this now is, we call it month in review. I did start 2024. I've gone through almost everything in 2024. The original idea was that monthly I would be going through this and say what I like, what I don't like, where does this go from here? And I do want to get back to that process because it keeps it a much smaller process, but it actually kind of works out in my favor here because I think it would be interesting to go through these on camera and say, what do I find interesting? Where was I mentally? What do I like out of these? I'm thinking like a mini series called Month in Review. So the last time I did it obviously was November. So it means that December I didn't do it. And so I had 11 ideas in December. Some were creative enough that I literally just gave it a date. Or what I kind of like better is just giving it some kind of name. Name doesn't have to stick or stay. It's just like the first thing that pops into my head. Maybe they're cool names. Maybe they're probably garbage. So, yeah. Who knows? But the idea would then say, okay, let's go through these. And January had about 11-ish. February had about 11-ish. March had a little bit more. April, things got a little busy. May, I had some. And then June and July, July hasn't gotten here. June, I've got 4 so far. One of the things that you just heard. And then we'll keep going from there. I mean, I would enjoy if I could get 10 to 15 things a month. That means that it was a pretty productive month. But if it's only 4, that's 4 things that I came up with this month that didn't exist before. A lot of them might be similar or the same kind of ideas, but that's cool too because then you could just find those pieces and put them together. Now what? Where was I? I've already lost where I was again. So yeah, I want to keep it. Right now, I would qualify this. I call it a riff if it's 1 to 2 parts, right? 1 part, 2 parts. And that's not even meaning the secondary guitars, solos or leads or whatever. It's just section 1, section 2. If it's 2 sections, I qualify it as a riff. It's not really a song yet. If it's 3 or more, then I'm like, you're kind of a song, or at least a partial song. You kind of made the cut. It's essentially 2 separate riffs. And what I would probably do upon the month in review for this one is actually break this up into 2 separate tracks, saying that riff 1 exists here in something, and then riff 2 exists in its own thing, so that I can separate them out, because they are not ideas that can go together. Are you a riff, or are you a song or partial song? And then I just put it into that. And then I have one that I nicely called it needs work, but that just means it kind of sucked. But not quite sucked enough to get rid of. Something's there, but it's not solid. Kind of just go with whatever my gut tells me. So whatever. And now what? Okay, well, they exist on my computer, but how would I know that I have it if I'm not down here doing it? Well, what I decided to do is mimic this folder structure on my Google Drive called Ideas, right? And then inside of that folder, I have 2 or 3 more folders called Riffs and Rough Songs, and another one called Partially Structured Songs. And then I try to always have MP3. MP3s are smaller. They take up a little less space. So I have the MP3s made and saved with the same name. The idea is I drop them in there. They live there as these ideas. That then when I'm on the go and I'm just kind of like wondering what's going on, I have Google Drive on my phone. And then I want to know what maybe I want to work on next. It's a way for me to have something on the go that I can dig through at the gym or in my truck driving around or whatever, and say, oh, that's what I want to do, and remember how to find it, because these things are set up exactly the same on both the Google Drive and on the project folders. One day I came downstairs and couldn't get it to work. It was not a fun day. I was like, oh man, I lost like a lot of stuff. And I found out that my hard drive had basically died on me. Super stressed out, thought I lost. It was well above 500 gigabytes. Eventually, I was able to get it into read-only mode. What that means is that I could not add anything to it, but I could get everything off of it. Whew, saved. It was a big deal, but it's no longer a big deal. It's just a pain in the butt because I have to do work to get it off. So get everything off. And now I go through this process of like, okay, well, how do I mitigate for this? Because eventually the solid state drives that I went to, it's always possible that they could last for a few years or whatever, and then they'll do the same thing or just die and I'll never be able to get it. Well, fortunately, I had a friend / mentor who gave me a super micro, basically just a mini server that has crazy amounts of storage on it, which is good. I keep it off most of the time, once a week or definitely by once a month. I'll just come in here, I'll turn it on, and then I come over to this FreeFileSync, which is a software program, and I run a synchronization, right? It just takes the solid state drive that I have and then it backs it up exactly how it is and back it up over to there. So it redundants. And then I even went a step further, and it's got actual 6 terabyte disks inside of it, and I mirrored 2 of those disks. It's one mirrored another one. So it's really 3 times now. So I'm making sure that I do not have this issue again, if I can help it. Shit happens. So, whatever. It might happen again, but hopefully not. But yeah, so now I have it organized here on my machine. I can go find stuff on the go through my Google Drive, and then I back that up to a server. And I know people who do the same to cloud services, but I have the resources to be able to do it, so that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, so that's really how I organize my stuff. Well, I'm going to shoot off a mini series, or I don't really know what to call it. My wife and I, but my wife and I just kind of listened with her for a while. Listened to this podcast, Morbid. She still listens to it, but what I really did like is they had listener tales, and they did that kind of monthly. But I love that idea that they had like a little mini series within their podcast. And so I'm thinking I'll just do kind of the same, where every 3 or 4 weeks I'll release one of these episodes of going through my month in review. And then 2SICH has a bunch of cool videos that I watched. But one that I really liked that she did was she took viewer input to be like send it into her, and then she turned those into guitar riffs or whatever. Check out 2SICH. She's cool. Again, I don't know that I'm trying to like steal anything from her, but I did like that idea. So what I mean by that is, if during this month in review anyone hears something that they're like, that's cool, why don't you do XYZ with it, or whatever, then give it into comments. That's cool. I'm open to that. Again, not trying to steal her thing there, and giving her props on what she did. I thought it was a cool idea. I'm going to riff on that. Either way, I'm going to do it on my own, but if you have any input, I'd be open to seeing what that would be. And of course, I'm putting together playlists every week that will be kind of just music that I found interesting throughout the week. You can find the link to the Spotify playlist in the description. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. See ya.